It's very normal, and honestly, I think if anything, it has been a source of inspiration and pride. He never fails to fight. He fights for progress, he fights for liberty, for justice, and for equality. If they did... sorry. So those people that think they know my father should know that he will never be silenced by blackmail and intimidation. He lost his position once, He was suspended from CBN. And I remember, I don't know if you remember the famous quote where he said, "You can suspend a man, but you can never suspend the truth." And one of his favorite quotes is from the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. Whenever confronted with a choice between what is right and what is popular, you must always do the right thing. He taught us, and I know he does not mind being the most unpopular emir so long as he speaks the truth. As for the throne, he always says it is God who gives power, and only God takes it away. When God says your time is up, it is up. And before then, no one can do anything about it. I'm sure my dad would love to remain an emir for the rest of his life. After all, it was all he wanted to be. But I know he will not at all cost. I remember my first year at the African Leadership Academy, he got an award. He was given the Man of Integrity. And to me, that was when integrity started having a meaning. It's doing the right thing no matter the consequences. So I know that if my father has to choose between the throne and his conscience, he will happily give up the throne. He has already accomplished his ambition of succeeding his forefathers, and frankly is the same person I knew as a banker and as a central bank governor. As an emir, he has not changed and will be the same person even as an ex-emir if it comes to that. But he will not be silenced, that much I know. And we as a family are all behind him, and whether or not he is in the arena, this is our battle to fight, and we are determined to win. Not just his immediate family, all of us. I stand here as a human because every human must stand up and fight the atrocities we are facing. My father has already given you the data. The facts are there. So how is it okay for us to be comfortable knowing the situation of most of us? Are we delusional or just silent? Sure, we can all do what we can to help organizations and movements like BBOG, which are doing amazing work fighting for human rights, but our leaders who are supposedly responsible for us, what are they doing? Our policy, everything that's supposed to protect us, how come it's just destroying us? Now, this might just spark another controversy, and I'm sure it could easily be interpreted, but I truly do wonder how we can keep fighting Boko Haram when we truly are making our homes, the homes of the average northern Nigerian, almost as unbearable as those of the victims. We deprive them of education, we marry them off early, we don't protect them. This is not even on a society level. Even at home, family, the husbands, in fact, the fathers that should protect our women don't always. They have kids young, they get exposed to diseases, they get divorced, they're left on streets because husbands don't want them anymore, and fathers already got rid of them. I can't tell you the people that come to my father every day, like in the council, just looking for help. There are women on the streets all the time. There are children that their parents can't take care of. They have kids, and I remember we all got offended when Mrs. Patience called us the Almajiris of the North. But to be honest, if we stop and think about it, isn't that what we really are? We have children and we send them off to streets. We don't give them food. We don't give them education. We just leave them there. So whenever people talk about the North, whenever we criticize the North, we get attacked. And then they say we have forgotten history. Okay, sure, we do have great history. But are we always going to live in the glory of our past? Or are we going to start having ambitions for our future? Maybe this is, again, the new mother in me, but I think of my daughter and I want her to be better than me. And I think that as a country, we want the next generations to be better than us. But it's so sad and it's so unfortunate that When I think of Nigeria and I want to speak of its glory, I only talk about it in the past because there really isn't much to glorify at the present. So, what are we? We're the same North that lost girls that we still haven't retrieved 3 years later. The same North that's averaging over 70% in poverty. Worst of all, the same North that doesn't want to do anything about it. We blame our people. They do all this to themselves. But the government and so-called people in charge, people responsible, don't they have obligations? So the girl isn't in school. Everyone is okay with us pointing fingers at the parents for not educating her. But some families truly want to send their girls to school. But there are no schools for poor people. There are no hospitals for poor people. You get lucky, say you escape all that, you got the education, you got married when you wanted, when you were old enough to who you wanted, but then you have problems at your workplace. Maybe you don't even get a job. And there's a problem we're facing because equality is making sure that when a man and a woman apply for a job, they all have 50% chances of getting it. So I think I would conclude now because I'm taking too much time. But I want to thank you all for making this happen, and I hope that we will all be inspired to be proactive. I'll leave you with a quote that my sister, it's like her favorite quote from Benjamin Franklin. It says, "Justice will not be served until those unaffected are as outraged as those that are." Thank you very much.
That was Shahida Sanusi, the daughter of the Emir of Kano, His Highness Lamido Sanusi. Now, her presentation is historic, as this is the first time a non-titled holder is representing the Emir of Kano, and it's more poignant as she is a woman. She spoke about the dangers of not educating the girl child.
What a fortunate princess she is to have a father who's so strong in mentorship. And that's why, you know, when we talk a lot about girl-child education, I mean, it's not just something that women need to fight for. It's also something that men must support. You heard the greatest support, one of the strongest support ever. A daughter come and ably represent her father. It takes courage to read that father's speech. If I were the one, maybe I would have edited it. But well done, our princess, well done. Well, she did talk about, you know, the parents, the pain of the Chibok parents. I remember once on Sunrise Daily, the program I anchor almost every morning with my colleagues, talking about, you know, waiting. Then very few of the girls had returned, and I think it was just the ones who had come back by themselves that had come back. The Bring Back Our Girls movement had the slogan, something about hope, keeping hope alive. It was a very strong statement. It was something that I could not fully comprehend. And I asked, how do you sell hope? How do you keep hope alive to parents who are waiting, who are wondering, when will my daughter return? How do they keep that hope alive? But they were right. Not too long after, some 24 girls, 20 girls, 21 girls were returned, were rescued, or negotiated for, if you prefer. And at least it looked like there was light at the end of the tunnel. But can you imagine how it must be for those parents wondering, will my daughter be among the 24 or 21 that were returned? Will they be among? And then the disappointment when your daughter is not there. This morning, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to listen to the testimony of one of the Chibok parents, Sarah Samuel.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rebecca Samuel. I can't continue speaking in English. I will speak in Hausa. Barkanmu da warhaka. Shekara uku 'yan matanmu yau sun cika. ba kwana uku bane. Shekara uku